Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome into my review of the Exit 8. If you're not yet familiar with Exit 8, it is a spot the anomaly type game, kind of like Observation Duty, except you are walking around in a loop and trying to determine whether or not there is something strange going on. And you essentially you report it by heading one direction or the other on whether or not you think there are or are not strange anomalies. I found it to be a lot of fun, but this is my very first video review ever, so I have come up with a system that I think kind of works. Just 6 things that I kind of look for in a game on whether or not it was well put together, well designed. So yeah, I hope that you guys will find the information valuable. I just kind of figured that since I am spending a lot of time playing through these games and creating gameplay videos on them, that it might be fun or interesting to provide my opinion on it. So the first thing that I wanted to go ahead and talk about was the audio design of the game. I think they did a really good job with the choices that they made. They chose to not include a musical score to the game, which I thought was a good choice, just given that, you know, this game tries to make you feel like you are in a liminal space where it's borderline surreal, but in a more realistic environment. So you would get things like the hum of the fluorescent lights above, you know, random noises from the anomalies that would kind of go off, the echoing footsteps of the one person that you see on repeat in the loop. So I thought that they did, those were all good choices, right? The detractor for me was that after so many times going through the loop, it did start to kind of, like, you kind of just wanted something else, something more. So for that reason alone, I dropped it down to an 8, but that's still a pretty good score. I do think that they did a very good job putting together the audio for this game. Moving on to the visual design of the game, again, I thought they did a really good job. The game looked really good. The quality of the surfaces, the lighting, the shadows, the reflections that were on everything, it all made you feel like you were legitimately there and working in the space that they intended. So there's not a lot to say about that. The game definitely was a little bit more on the simple side in terms of what visuals they were trying to portray, but what was there was very good. You know, I do kind of wish that some of the anomalies had maybe been a little more over the top, but I mean, it all worked for what they intended. So I gave visual design an 8.5. So the next category that I wanted to use as a criteria was atmosphere. Now, I think that there's probably a lot of overlap between audio and visual when it comes to atmosphere, but I think that I wanted to include this category because I believe that atmosphere is where audio and visual intersect. And what I mean by that is that how effective are they at combining the audio and visual elements of the game to create the type of atmosphere that they intended. And in that respect, I think they did a really good job. Again, I had mentioned it a moment ago, but it definitely felt like you were inside of a liminal space where you were wondering what was going on. There's no explanation as to what's really happening. It makes you feel like you know, if these strange things weren't happening, you would be in what would be considered a totally normal space, but everything's just super weird because of all these anomalies. And I thought that they did a really good job using the audio and visual elements to achieve that. So in that respect, I gave atmosphere an 8.5. The next thing that I wanted to go ahead and discuss was the gameplay of the game. It was a very simple but effective game. If you see an anomaly, you run back the direction that you came. If you find no anomaly, you pass through the corridor as you normally would. There's nothing complicated about that. But the things that I did appreciate about it is, especially in a lot of the other anomaly detection games, is that you'll often get repeats. which in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're trying to play through the game multiple times, or you're trying to beat the game but you have to keep restarting over and over again, getting repeat anomalies while kind of puts you into like a little bit of a comfort zone, like, okay, I know this one. After a while, it really does start to wear on you. The thing that I appreciated about this game was that they didn't repeat any of the anomalies until you had seen them all, right? So you, generally speaking, would get a fresh experience every time you went through until you essentially completed the game, at which point the anomalies would start to repeat themselves as necessary until you completed the task to get to exit 8. So I really appreciated that. I liked it a lot. I did kind of wish that there were more anomalies. I know that they had recently gone through and put in a patch where they added some, and that's great. But I did feel like there was a lack of anomalies in general. I wanted to see more cool stuff, more weird stuff, just unexpected things, and you didn't get a lot of that. So I gave the gameplay of this an 8, which I think is still good, but there's room for improvement in my mind. So the next thing to go over is the story of the game. And I scored this kind of low. And the reason for that is because there wasn't really a story to it. It really just was, hey, you're now in this underground area, find anomalies, which is fine. It worked for what the game was, right? But if you're trying to judge whether or not there was a good story to it, the answer is no. There wasn't much of a story at all. So I gave it a 6, which is the lowest score that I gave it in the out of all the categories for this game. And that's not to say that I thought that it was terrible or anything like that. It just, there was no story, but it worked for the concept of the game. So the last thing that I wanted to go ahead and discuss with the game was the actual length of the game. And I know that this is a pretty important category for a lot of people, because one of the general metrics that people use to determine whether or not a game is worth purchasing is how much game do you get for how much money you're spending on it, right? And unfortunately, I'm going to be discussing this category in terms of the US dollar, just because that's what I'm used to. But this game right now on Steam is about $3.99, about $4. And the game, I mean, I played through it, got all the anomalies, and I did it in a little over an hour and a half. So it's a very short game for $4. And I think that's not a terrible price point, because the game was fun, it was entertaining. I've definitely spent $4 on worse. So I think that in terms of the value for time spent, it's not bad. I gave this an 8 out of 10. So I just think that the game was short, sweet. It didn't overstay its welcome. I do wish that there were more anomalies, but you know, there's only so many times you can go through the loop before it starts to get like a little monotonous. So I thought that the length of the game was appropriate to what they were trying to do. So yeah, I gave that one an 8. Again, I know that currency is subjective to wherever you are in the world, so you may want to take this category with a grain of salt, but at least you know that the game will get you about a little over an hour and a half for a price that is, generally speaking, not super high. And so that being the last category, I just want to go ahead and end these videos with my final thoughts on the game. I personally liked the game a lot. I thought it was very simple. I mean, the thing didn't even have a title screen, right? It kind of just dropped you right into the first loop, and away you went. So it's a very, very simply made game, but it's very effective. I thought they did a good job. Overall, it felt like a fun experience. I wasn't upset with the amount of money that I spent versus how long the game was. So overall, it was pretty good. But I, went ahead and tallied up all of the scores, did an average. So my overall rating for this game is a 7.8, brought down quite a bit by the fact that there is no real story to it. But overall, that's a good score for me. Like I think that this game was really well made. So I would recommend it to anybody who's looking to play an anomaly detection game. Just don't expect something that's going to give you a lot of the same value as something like a observation duty, where they have multiple maps, multiple anomalies on all the maps, different difficulty levels. None of that is present here. It is very straightforward and just quite a quick, fun experience. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think of these reviews, how I can maybe improve it, what you liked about it. Please be kind. I would like to do these moving forward, and I probably will continue to do them, but feedback is appreciated when it comes to this type of stuff. So again, thank you for staying tuned. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you in the next video. Oh, actually, before you go, the gameplay video link is in the description below. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please do. It greatly helps me out. I would love to be doing this stuff like full time, but the reality of the matter is that's really not possible without your guys' help. So anybody who has already subscribed, thank you very much. If you are so inclined to subscribe, it is free to do, and it would help me grow this channel considerably. So thank you very much, everybody, and I will catch you later.